Rite Aid shares, they are in focus this morning. They're slipping as the company reportedly plans to file for bankruptcy as it faces several lawsuits over the chain's alleged role in the sale of opioids.
Looks like Rite Aid, much like other corporations that want to skirt financial liabilities following lawsuits, is looking to file for bankruptcy to possibly minimize their financial burdens after their alleged role in the opioid epidemic. Now, they are planning on filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time. And that filing would cover Rite Aid's more than $3.3 billion debt load and pending legal allegations that it oversupplied prescription painkillers. So the Wall Street Journal reported on this, writing that Rite Aid faces more than 1,000 federal lawsuits that were consolidated into a multi-district litigation in Ohio. The company also faces a significant number of similar cases pending in state courts that allege it contributed to the opioid epidemic, as well as a civil lawsuit by the Justice Department that alleges the company dispensed controlled substances in violation of the False Claims Act and Controlled Substances Act. But what's up with this connection between the bankruptcy and skirting financial responsibility and liabilities related to these lawsuits? Well, unsecured claims rank behind a company's collateralized debt in bankruptcy and share in the amounts left over after secured claims are paid in full. The terms offered to Rite Aid's opioid-related claimants in a potential Chapter 11 could change, meaning the amount of money that they need to pay to the plaintiffs should they lose these lawsuits could be different, meaning it could be minimized as a result of this Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So Cenk, there's a lot of fancy wording in there. Break it down a little further for us.
Yeah, so Rite Aid's case is a little bit more complicated because at this point they actually are losing money. So when you're losing money and you really have run out, for example, they haven't, they're still are capitalized enough to continue for sure. But there does come a point when you have a real bankruptcy and there's nothing you could do about it, okay? But what is happening, especially with these opioid lawsuits, is that a lot of the companies are doing the same thing, and a lot of them are nowhere near losing money. They have tons of profit, but they're thinking of declaring bankruptcy anyway. Why? Why would you do that? Because in a bankruptcy, secured debts or obligations get paid first. So whatever money you have, if you borrowed money from a bank, for example, you got to pay that back first. Anything where they have collateral, you got to pay that back first. By the way, the equity guys theoretically get wiped out. So that's why they'll play a lot of financial tricks, and then the court should not allow them to switch equity into debt because equity gets wiped out, but debt doesn't. So, but in this case, the trick is, well, all the money we owe to the American people or to states in particular, well, that's not secured. So in a bankruptcy specifically, that goes to the bottom of the list. Oh, golly gee, we ran out of money and we never got to the bottom of the list, so we gave it all to the debt. And then what do? Well, then Rite Aid is gone, or whichever other companies are doing this trick are gone? No, then they go, well, now we're out of bankruptcy and we're financially healthy again.
Right, I mean, we've seen this happen so many times with so many different companies. And by the way, just to give you a dollar amount, Rite Aid is currently $3.3 billion in debt. So should they go through with this bankruptcy, they would, I guess, pay the lenders first, right?
Yes, that's right. And by the way, 3.3 billion, it depends on the industry and the context, but it's often not that big a number. I think that they're in bigger trouble because I think in the last quarter they lost 300 million or so. So they're actually actively losing money. Tons of companies have debt, like Warner Brothers that took over, Discovery Warner Brothers that took over CNN has, I think, at least 50 billion in debt. And so
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, when you're large, you get away with so many things that small businesses can't possibly get away with. Like the debt that most of these giant corporations have is preposterous.
How do you function with $50 billion in debt?
That's why they don't. That's why they cut the crap out of CNN when they first came in, even though CNN is profitable. The best example is actually TCM, Turner Classic Movies. It has a profit margin of like about 1,000%. Their costs are 20 to 40 million. Their profits or their revenue is at least 200 million. So it's an incredibly profitable business, and they butchered the staff. and cut it by half anyway. Why? Because it has nothing to do with Turner Classic Movies or CNN. It's that they got to reduce their debt, and their executives are often paid their bonus based on how much they reduce debt. So then they think, I don't care that it's profitable. I don't care about anything. Cut them all, so I can make an extra 20 million, 200 million in bonuses. So anyway, back to Rite Aid in this case. I don't know, and a forensic accountant would have to decide if they really should go to bankruptcy. They not now, there's no way. They're doing the same trick that a lot of these other companies are. But if they lose money for long enough, then it becomes real. But in this case, since they're doing the same trick that everyone in that industry is doing, specifically about opioids, and we covered this story before, literally the big finance guys on Wall Street said to another company in the same industry, well, this is hurting our profits. And so we might even sue you guys if you don't declare bankruptcy, because how dare this hurt our profits? Well, brother, your company did something, the company you invested in did something wrong. People died. They went to court and they settled because they would have paid a lot more if people found out how many people actually died because of their negligence. And so that was part of what your company did. And they say, yeah, I know, but that's your problem, not my problem. I demand profits.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. When you invest in a company, that's not the same as putting your money in an FDIC insured bank account. It's a financial risk.
100%.
And that's what they brag about all the time, right?
Oh, we're the big risk takers.
We're the risk takers. We take all the risks. We deserve all the profits. No, it's a risk. So you might actually lose principal on your investment, or you might lose the entire principal on your investment if you didn't do your due diligence to ensure that you're investing in an adequate and properly run company.
100%. And look, this is now an adjacent issue, but we've given you 3 or 4 stories, and I'm as jaded as I am, been covering this stuff for a couple of decades now. I can't believe this latest phenomenon where in totally different circumstances, companies have gone to court saying, I am owed profit. I'm owed profit from the US government, from people who are striking my workers, they're costing me profit. Yet that's what a strike's supposed to do, right? They're like, no, now they have to give me all the profits I would have theoretically made because I'm guaranteed profits. What kind of capitalism did you guys learn?
Yeah.
Nobody's guaranteed profits. This line of thinking is insanity. The only reason why they're getting away with it is because we don't have capitalism, we have corporatism. Corporations have taken over everything, and that is why they get to do these absurd things where they go, we kill you, we do a fake settlement, afterwards we go bankrupt, we take all the money, you get nothing, and then the company's back the next day, back to making tremendous profits. It's an absolute outrage. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.